beyond for Miram. Instead, it's Harrison Affle now. He's gone through the centre. Affle! Oh, what a run! What a goal! Oh, it's fabulous! Fantasy stuff from Harrison Affle. A moment of pure genius from the fullback may have settled this time.
I could watch that goal all night. Thank you, Harrison Affle. What a beauty, you guys. Welcome to MLS Playoff Central, the post-game show. I'm Susanna Collins. I am joined by Kaylin Carr, Matt Doyle, Bobby Boswell. The first leg of the Eastern Conference semifinal matchup between the Crew and NYCFC in the books. The Crew with a decisive 4-1 win, including that beauty from Affle. You guys, this game, Justin Miram promised goals.
He did.
Right? In this one, we heard him. We all heard him. And there could have been so many more, so many chances in this one. But Columbus Crew, man, they get the job done. I just want to get your guys' reactions, initial reactions to this one. Doyle, we're going to start with you.
It was a wild game because Justin Miram promised goals, but it was Jonathan Mensah and Sean Johnson trying to make sure that everybody delivered. Both guys just had nightmare nights. I brought Alex Ring in there as well, who's been one of the best defensive midfielders in the league this year, and he was nowhere to be found tonight. It's something that Bobby said a lot in the pregame, was that it's a game of mistakes, limiting your errors in the playoffs. And neither team did this, and it made for some wonderful open attacking soccer. I'm not sure either coach is going to be super thrilled with the way it played out in terms of tactically staying compact and doing the right things. But I think Greg Berhalter is obviously going to go to bed a happy man tonight, given that scoreline.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you could throw tactics out the window, when they had two goals where there were turnovers, which, we knew one of the teams was going to do it. Unfortunately for NYCFC, it was them. And, there were a lot of missed chances. There were a lot of mistakes, but playoff soccer is about one team getting it done and the other team, not getting it done. And tonight, the Columbus Crew kept doing it. And that's what I was saying earlier with they're finding ways to win games. They've been playing meaningful soccer for a lot of months now, just trying to make sure they got into the playoffs, and they're going to keep doing that. And, the way this scoreline went, it looks like, as long as they don't really choke up in the next round, or the next game, they'll be through to the next round.
Yeah, I mean, this is playoff soccer. It's wet, it's cold, slips, deflections, red cards, elbows in the box. And it's less to me about the mistakes that are made than who can capitalize on them. And Columbus Crew SC capitalized on the mistakes. That's why they take away a 4-1 win.
Yeah.
This game was not without some drama. You mentioned the red card early in the second half. We saw Alexander Killens throw a nice little elbow in the face of Justin Miram.
I've seen a couple of those from Susanna Collins before.
I've been known sharpen these bad boys up. This one went to video review. Resulted in a straight red for Callens. Number one, I want to know what you guys think of this. If you agree with the call, also how this red card changed the complexion of the game.
I mean, it's 100%. This is one of the reasons that video review exists, is to make sure that calls like this aren't missed. I don't think anybody can have a real gripe about it. No, he didn't try to take his head off. It's not like he really swung it hard, but you can't get your elbow up like that in the first place. As to how it changed the complexion of the game, I mean, it was 1-0. It ended up 4-1. I mean, Columbus are one of those teams that if you're playing a man down, they could string together passes and open you up and get runouts on goal.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. He didn't miss a single minute for his team all season, and unfortunately in the biggest game of the year,
lost his damn mind.
He didn't make the smartest decision, and as a center back and a defender, I feel more like I'm upset for him, because I feel like he's going to get battered online, and and the team's not happy with him, and I don't think that's representative of him as a player, but unfortunately, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, no worse feeling than sitting in the locker room. I actually got my only red card in my MLS career in Columbus, and there's nothing worse than watching your team out there suffer because of you. Now, mine wasn't in the class. I'll tell you about it later.
Okay, let's talk later.
There's definitely simulation.
It was on.
I haven't heard this story before.
For sure.
You didn't learn from Blanco.
No, but the adjustments that were made after afterwards didn't work out.
No.
Ring stepped into the center of the back line. I think Ethan White may have been a better choice. Now, of course, they wanted to be able to play out of it, but he ended up getting caught in possession. That ended up being the goal that really turned things for them.
Yeah, it did.
Oh my goodness. Well, Bobby, you had said before that Columbus is a team that's forgotten how to lose. Okay, when you look at what they were able to accomplish in Atlanta, what they were able to accomplish in Columbus tonight against NYCFC, what kind of statement have they made? How big of a role is this team on? How can they be stopped at this point?
Well, I don't know. I think tactically, they're a very well coached team. They've got the right players playing the right kind of soccer at the right time. Different guys are scoring goals. Their goalie is he's playing lights out. And, I know we talk a little bit about the center back pairing, but I thought overall it was a pretty solid, complete team performance. I know they gave up a lot of chances, and, you hit the post. Villa will be upset that he didn't score more goals, but at the end of the game, you look at it and the scoreline is what matters. And, they have to just keep the same mentality. They'll probably have the same training sessions, and they'll do much of the same, because all they have to do is go and score. If they score one goal in New York, I think it's over, but they don't even have to do that. So their options are pretty open for what they can do from here.
So many weapons for Columbus. You look on the score sheet, 4 different guys appear. Artur, for me, has been one of the guys of the playoffs. A lot of people weren't talking about him leading up to it, but he's really had a coming out party. Been fantastic. And then, what can you say? You're right back at the end of the match. Show some composure, because that's what NYCFC lacked at times in the box on the other end. And a full, man. He smashed a couple off the post from deep against you guys in Atlanta, but then this one shows some fantastic composure, just putting people on pause in the box. And
it was reminiscent of that great goal George Best scored 40 years ago for the Quakes in the old NASL. Just in terms of, putting guys on pause, you hit the brakes and they fly right on by. And Felix Briant is still going, and he's still looking for somebody to tackle. But I want to get back to what Bobby was saying about the crew being well coached, and maybe I downplayed it a little too much about tactics in the opening segment, but if you look back at that first 45 minutes especially, Santos kept drifting inside and getting into that gap between Ring and the back line, and Ring never found him. So all of those breakouts that the crew were getting, it came from that spot, and we thought it was going to be the fullbacks pushing up and sort of filling in those gaps, but they didn't even need to do it.
Yeah.
And I think part of that goes to Artur and Will Trapp, frankly, just outplaying Herrera and Alex Ring. They won that battle pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, I think the holding midfielders, we didn't talk a lot about Will tonight, and I don't think you saw a lot of him in the game because of how effective I think the guys around him were. And, a lot of that also goes to him, the ground he covers and he puts himself in good spots. But it's just a thorough team result. I think overall they got the job done with how they wanted to do it, and you know that they're going to give up chances, and there's going to be some plays going the other way. I think in a red card situation, you also take your foot off the gas a little bit, because you think you've got the game a little more in hand. And I thought credit to NYCFC, they pushed forward, and I kept saying they're going to get a goal, they're going to get a goal, and I don't think they were going to score it the way they did, but it's still just a thorough beating, to be honest. And the red card changed the whole thing.
All right, guys, our hot take hotline is open, 401-206-0MLS. You've got hot takes. We want to hear them. In fact, I believe we have a call right now. Let's listen to it.
Calling in the middle of this NYCFC Columbus game. As an NYCFC fan, I've just got to say that I'm not sure there's a more tragically terrible playoff team than NYCFC. Regular season's always so exciting and so hopeful and perspective. It's like being a trailer for a Tom Hooper movie. Oh my gosh,
This was the saddest phone call I've ever.
We checked
Connor,
on him.
man.
We checked
Connor,
on him
it's Halloween.
You good, bro?
Go get some sugar. Go get some sugar. Go get some candy. You're gonna feel so much better.
It's a
tragic.
thing,
What did he
though.
say? It was just. It was
They're
a tragic
playoff team.
Tragic playoff team.
They've
been outscored 11-1 now
In 3 games.
In 3 games in the
Yeah.
playoffs. That ain't good.
you guys have no experience with this because you played on the Dynamo and you never got blown out. But this at some point, this has to get in your heads if you're going into the next game thinking like we just get hammered every time we play in the playoffs?
I don't think it's so much of a mental. This isn't the Chicago Cubs. Sorry, Susanna. This isn't the Chicago Cubs we're talking about. They've been to the playoffs twice. I just feel like they've put themselves in holes, and some of it, you could call it inexperience, you could call it, to me, it comes down to the red card in this one. I thought they had a good start to the match. It was back and forth. We thought it was going to be end-to-end. It was end-to-end, but obviously the red card changed things, and they were never able to find their footing afterwards.
Okay, so in our pregame show, we had talked about Patrick Vieira and how he had stressed the importance of maintaining their identity as they enter the postseason. I mean, my question to you guys, did they do that tonight? I mean, did he stick to his game plan?
I think they tried to. I think they tried to go out and attack. And they had chances. Mensah gave them 3 chances in the first 30 minutes. Villa pinging one off the post. But they don't look like the same team they were in the first half of the season. The sort of clockwork movements, everybody working together to open up space. It almost feels like Villa is getting too much of the ball, like trying to funnel too much through him, and that's maybe affected the confidence of some of the other guys.
I mean, as a fan of the league, you know, when you have a guy like Villa, I mean, I like that he wanted the ball. Yeah. He wanted, you know, the game's on the line. He was saying, "Give me the ball, let me go try to score." I mean, I think you'd take that, your DP trying too hard over not. But I agree with Kalen that I think the red card definitely influenced the game. I think if they don't get that red card, maybe, you know, they get a more favorable result. But I don't think that Columbus they were definitely going to win this game, in my opinion. But they pretty much, I think they put their series out of reach. And now that self-doubt is definitely in NYCFC's head, and they'll definitely say, you people will say, oh, they're not a good playoff team, and that's probably not fair to them. I don't like to compare last year's teams to this year's team. There's a whole new group of guys out there, so it's not fair to these guys to say that. And sometimes you just got to tip your hat to a different team, and they were unlucky in some regard. The post didn't help again tonight. And I don't know what Zach's been doing. He's got like
a magic spell.
He's got a rain dance or something there.
Yeah. There's a danger, of course, when you're a supporter of a team, of course, to blame your own team, but you have to give Columbus Crew SC credit. They were the better team on the day. Now, do I think if Callan stays on the field, it's a closer game? Sure, but Columbus was the better team, and that's what the playoffs is about, is if you get something that tips to your favor, you have to take advantage of it. And Columbus Crew, to be honest, they weren't in that great of a situation when Villa scores that goal. Yep. If they go back 3-1, that's a good result to go back to NYC with. That last goal at the end, I think, was the killer for them.
Yeah, right now, to go back to the caller's lament, NYCFC fans, you guys in the playoffs remind me of the 1990s Metro Stars.
Doyle with the deep cut. Doyle with Bobby wants no part of it. Bobby wants absolutely no part of it. Are we ready for Jill Sakovits? Is this what I'm hearing? We are indeed ready for Jill Sakovits. She is on the field with Ben Sweat. Jill, what have you got for us?
Ben, a 4-1 loss here in Columbus in the first leg. Where did you see the breakdown from your vantage point?
I mean, we gave up an early goal. We had plenty of chances to equalize and get ahead in the first half, and I think we finished the first half really strong. We came out, we got an unlucky red card in the second half, and obviously, going down a man is very tough with how they play, and once you concede another goal, it gets tougher and tougher, but luckily we got one away goal, so we'll just prepare for the next home game.
How did that red card change your game plan?
I mean, we take out one of our center backs, so we got to readjust, put different players in different positions, and obviously we can't press them as much as we want to, keep the ball as much as we want to because we're down a man, so it was tough, very frustrating.
Ben, what's the team's mentality heading into the second leg?
We got to put this in the past and get ready for the next game.
Ben, thanks.
Thank you so much.
All right, Bobby, let's do a little bit of a players-only chat for a second. You've only missed the playoffs one time, so you know quite a bit about this. What does it take to manage your emotions, and how important is that in a match of this magnitude?
For me, I always say it's just another game. It's another game that's magnified, especially the further you go in the playoffs. There's more eyes on you, and the room for error is much smaller. But on the teams, I've been on teams that won supporter shields that got blown out in the first game, and I've been on teams that snuck in the back door and made great runs at it. So the biggest thing is, like I said, it's limiting those mistakes. So you got to have some things go your way. You got to have some balls, lucky bounces. You got to get some lucky calls sometimes, but usually over the course of a 2-game series, the better team shows its value. And I think that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, on the red card, obviously we've discussed it was decisive in a lot of ways in this one. How is video review or the presence of it as a defender? Things can get dirty in that box, but how has video review changed the way you play in those moments?
Yeah, video reviews, I think it's going to change the playoffs. I mean, obviously you see it tonight, but in a regular non-VAR game, I think that that might not even be a yellow card. That's just a retake of the corner, and they're playing 11v11. So I know that a couple years ago we played New England, and I gave a nice little love tap to Juan Agadello off the ball, and he ended up going down coming out of the game. The ref didn't, I don't think he saw it, and I got to complete the game. We won a close game, and then after the game they suspended me for the following leg. And who knows, that might have been a different scenario had VAR been involved. And I just know going forward as a player, you can't make those, you can't put yourself in those situations because they pretty much have eyes on everything now, and it takes away a bit of the chippiness, but at the same time, I think it's the right way to go.
I've felt one or two of those Bobby Love taps before.
You probably deserved it, though.
Is that why you're always talking to the referees like this?
I always cover my mouth just because I don't think anyone, even if I'm saying something nice, people always, they want to try to guess what you're saying and stay mysterious.
You mentioned that this team, Columbus, has forgotten how to lose. Is there something to be said also for a team that knows how to win and how to put a team away?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, to me, the game getting put away was just a really great piece of individual play. And, I mean, they were still being aggressive. What's he doing up there in the box at 3-1 that late in the game? But, that's what I was saying earlier when you talk about their style of play, who's going to stay true to their style. And even a man up with a lead, and they were kind of getting, the door was getting knocked on at the other end. He goes forward and puts that away. That's a piece of individual brilliance. But, like I said, they were playing meaningful games. They were in great form. I don't think NYCFC was in very good form coming into the game. I think you look at Columbus just had a matchup in Atlanta where they played our team that we play a similar style, try to play out of the back, try to hit you with some speed and pace and power up front. And so in a way you could say that they're primed. They were primed for tonight, which is why I was so confident that they would get the job done. They've just shown that they're already playoff ready, and NYC has yet to show me that, and I'm still not convinced after tonight.
Well, Columbus Crew SC deserved winners tonight. Let's check in with our own Jillian Sakovits at Mafre.
Ola, what has it been with this team that has allowed you guys to stay in form? Has it been the leadership? What is it that's going on in this team that's allowed you guys to go on such a run?
I don't know. Now I think we're 13 games unbeaten. I think we're just a hardworking team, and everybody works for each other. And I think we're a very good team, and that's a big thing. We work for each other, and we have a lot of good players too. So I mean, that's a good combination.
On defense, on NYCFC's defense, where were you guys able to expose them tonight?
Oh, I feel in transition when we're playing through them. I think we were very dangerous all the time, and we had a good game. We had a lot of chances. Maybe we could have gotten even more, but they had some too. So it's going to be an interesting game in Yankee Stadium.
The atmosphere here tonight, how much of a role did that play?
Oh, we loved it. It was an unbelievable atmosphere today, and we thank the supporters for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys, the atmosphere there was pretty incredible. And you have to imagine that these players were just sort of feeding off of that. And they could tell that these fans wanted it, they needed it. I don't know. I mean, for your experience as a player, I mean, how big is that?
Well, I was waiting to see how Columbus would respond to everything going around the team. Of course, Anthony Freecourt was in the crowd tonight.
Yes, he was.
But they showed up. I think the fans showed up. The Nordeca, obviously, a famous spot. They were jumping. It really helped his team push on towards the victory. I think they're going to have probably some more home games to attend if the Crew keep playing this way. So, deserved winners tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the the fan turnout was great, and all the signs that they brought and the passion that they brought to the game, and you could see that it actually, I think, kind of lifted the team, especially like middle of the second half when they got up 3-0, and then Villa gets that one back, and it seemed like NYCFC was putting the foot down a little bit. And if they had gotten it back to 3-2, it would have been eerily similar to last year's Montreal-Toronto series, which, remember, Montreal had 3-0 at one point, and then Toronto got 2 late ones back. It started to feel like that, and I think the crowd maybe sensed it, and they came alive as well, which was dope. I mean, it was great. It was great to see, and we've all seen Crew Stadium like that, and I think we all want to see it like that some more.
Absolutely. You guys, just a reminder, our Hot Take Hotline is open. We have Aristides Novi from Michigan. This is kind of to something that you had alluded to earlier, Doyle. Why so high on Artur? How many times did he turn it over? Bad pass, turned around, Santos and others had to cover. I'm saying I forgive you because you scored that beautiful goal, and I'm just going to put that out there. But thoughts on that?
I didn't think Artur was particularly turnover prone, but anybody who plays in that position is going to have to occasionally try a pass that doesn't have a high probability of success. You don't win games by playing safe. And look at Nosa the other night for Vancouver. He completed 31 of 33 passes, but all 31 were backwards.
Bob, you speak highly of Artur, right?
Yeah, I do. I think he's a destroyer. I think he's an effective destroyer. He doesn't get a lot of fouls called against him, but he gets close enough he cuts lanes. I think the defensive work, he can hide center back mistakes, and for me, that position is the most important position on the field for any team. And if you look at all the teams in the MLS playoffs right now, they all have pretty good holding midfielders, guys that some of them, we'll have a game on Thursday where you're going to have some big, strong guys that are not afraid to run around and kick you. But tonight was about young guys that were trying to get the job done, trying to connect their team and win tackles and win balls. And on one side, I thought the Columbus guys did their job, and on the other side, I didn't think we heard a lot from Herrera, and I think Ring turned the ball over in some bad spots that led to goals. So you can say that he wasn't as clean as you'd like him to be, but he was definitely the more effective, I think the most effective holding midfielder on the field tonight.
He's not going to be Xavi. There's only one of that guy. I would rather see him play a little aggressive and maybe overhit some passes and try stuff and put NYCFC under pressure, especially because even though he's a destroyer and kind of a defensive midfielder, he plays a little higher up the field than Trapp does. So that gives Artur license to try stuff because you have guys behind him to act as that cushion and prevent the types of breakouts that I think were killing the Crew earlier in the year and didn't really have much. I mean, when NYCFC generated stuff tonight, it was off of individual errors at the back line. It wasn't off of midfield turnovers.
Yeah, when he's at his best, though, he keeps it simple. I think he keeps the ball, Brazilian, good technique. And Will Trapp is a name that we haven't mentioned a lot, as Bobby mentioned earlier, but he's the type of guy that you almost don't want to hear about. He does the dirty work, the quiet things. And those two, they don't need to make the killer pass. He chipped in with a goal tonight, which was unexpected, but they really just need to find Pipa, find Justin Miron, find Pedro Santos on the wing, and let those guys do the work.
So, guys, we heard Ben Sweat talking to Jill Sakovits. He said we need to put this behind us, just have short memories, especially when it comes to a loss like this. Your NYCFC, where do you go from here? What's the game plan?
Falcons were down 28-3. Cavs were down 3-1. You just look around the world and you say, remember that crazy Champions League between Barcelona and PSG last year? You just look at stuff like that and you say, you know what? In sports, crazy stuff can happen. And next time, Villa doesn't hit the post. Next time, Harrison actually traps the ball and
they can just look at their first half. You just look at the first 30 minutes of this match and you tell Jack Harrison, hey, Jack, do you think you can do better on those first touch to be able to get a shot on frame? David Villa, is that going off the post or is that going in? They've had chances in this first half, just brushed a little bit wide. And if they can come out the first 10 minutes, I think you break the game down into probably 10, 15-minute sections. You try and win the first 15 minutes, 1-0. You see if you can get another one back by halftime, and then you give yourself a chance later on to really make a push to try and even the score.
Yeah, I think that, like you said, the coach will show game tape and he'll say, I don't even think you show a lot of the stuff after the red card. I think you just say, here's the chances we created with 11 men. If we finish these, it'll put some doubt in their minds, and that's really what you want. You want to kind of play on their doubt, create some opportunities, score a goal here or there. I mean, you can't lie to your team. They know you have to play a pretty perfect game. I mean, you can't.
You got to win 3-0.
You can't go in there and say, "Hey guys, we're gonna score 4 goals and tie this thing up 4-1." But you get a goal early on. It comes in the back of your head. I guarantee you, it'll creep into your head. This could happen.
We know how Yankee Stadium plays as well. There's always goals in that field because it's so tight, and it's a pinball machine type of thing in the attacking third. And with defenders like Columbus's, you get those deflections, you get those second balls, and you just have to be sharper and you have to put your chances away. And I think Callan's absolutely right. You say, all right, we're going to win the first 15 minutes 1-0, and then we're going to get 2-0 at the half, and then at that point it's 45 minutes, and you say, may the better team win.
Can they do it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Nope.
They're not going to shut Columbus out on that field. And
even if they score early.
Even if they score early, I think Columbus will figure out how to get one either via the break, because you saw they were able to get out on the break pretty well, and on set pieces. Again, I still think that either Mensah or Josh Williams is going to just dunk one.
It's a small field.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small field. You had turnovers tonight on a big field, and they were in the goal quick on a small field. A turnover at half field, I mean, it's one pass and you're shooting on goal. So
I could see it getting tight, like 3-1 NYCFC, and everybody's worried for a minute. But
that last goal, I think, really hurt them.
Yep.
They were down 3-0. You saw Patrick Vieira kick the water bottle at that moment, frustration. But then they get one back. They were in a good spot. You think that last 5-10 minutes, they really sort of let themselves down as far as realizing, hey, we're in a good spot now. They'd been digging because they were a man down for a while there. But I think it's going to be too tall a task. That last goal, to me, is the decisive one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think Columbus is a very well-coached team, and they have. I mean, if you look at what their coach would tell them, they have a couple options. They could just say we're going to go score a goal and come out and play, which I think would completely catch NYCFC off guard. But at the same time, they could just park the bus and say we've got enough quality in our attacking guys that we're going to go sit back and then counter you. And I think the way that these guys are playing, I don't know why anyone would bet against them.
We will see. We will see. On Sunday, 5 p.m., NYCFC will host the Columbus Crew. You can watch that game on ESPN, TSN, TVA Sports. And guys, we are going to be back here on Thursday ahead of Seattle versus Vancouver. That is the second leg of that Western Conference semifinal. That is at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a late one. We're going to be here for you, but you can watch that game on FS1, Fox Deportes, TSN 5, and TVA Sports. Guys, thank you so much for watching MLS Playoff Central. For Kaylin Carr, Matt Doyle, Bobby Boswell, I'm Susanna Collins. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.